episode of ECF Experts Live. My name is Dalton.
And my name is Chandler.
On today's show, we will talk about our picks, our BCS bowl projections, our Heisman Watch, and some big news around the college football world. Chandler, start with your news.
2 Tennessee Volunteers players were kicked off the team. The 2 players were New Keith Richardson and Mike Edwards. They were kicked off the team because they attempted a robbery.
From another person while someone else was in a car. You forgot about that, but okay. You forgot that very important detail. And now we will give you our Heisman Watch. As you can tell, Sam isn't here today. So we will be telling you his bowl projections, his picks, and his Heisman Watch. We will start with his Heisman Watch. His Heisman Watch reads, number 5, Case Keenum, number 4, Golden Tate, number 3, Mark Ingram, number 2, Tim Tebow, and number 1, Colt McCoy. Chandler, who is yours?
5, Golden Tate, 4, Jimmy Clausen, 3, Mark Ingram, 2, Colt McCoy, and still at number 1, Tim Tebow.
And mine is 5, Case Keenum, 4, Mark Ingram, 3, Jimmy Clausen, 2, Colt McCoy, and 1, Tim Tebow. Okay, so most of us, it's either Tebow or McCoy, who will probably battle it out for the national championship game. Okay, now we will talk about our BCS bowl projections. I will give you Sam's BCS bowl projections first. His reads like this. In the Rose Bowl, Ohio State versus Oregon. In the Orange Bowl, Clemson versus Cincinnati. In the Fiesta Bowl, Nebraska versus Boise State. In the Sugar Bowl, Florida versus TCU. In the National Championship, Alabama versus Texas. Chandler, what is yours?
Mine is Ohio State for the Rose Bowl. Mine is Ohio State versus Oregon. For the Orange Bowl, Georgia Tech versus Cincinnati. For the Fiesta Bowl, Nebraska versus TCU. For the Sugar Bowl, Alabama versus Boise State. And for the National Championship game, Florida versus Texas.
And mine is Rose Bowl versus, it would be Ohio State versus Oregon. The Orange Bowl is Georgia Tech versus Cincinnati. Fiesta Bowl, Nebraska versus Boise State. Sugar Bowl, Alabama versus TCU. And the National Championship game, the University of Florida versus University of Texas. Okay, so we all agree that Texas is going, but which SEC team will? We'll find that out eventually, by December 5th, of course. Okay, now we will give you guys our picks for Week 12. I will give you Sam's pick game by game. Boise State versus Utah State. He picked Boise State. Minnesota versus Iowa. He picked Iowa. He picked Minnesota, correction. For Ole Miss versus LSU, he picked LSU. For Penn State, Michigan State, he picked Penn State. For Stanford versus California, he picked Stanford. In our main event, he picked Ohio State versus Michigan. He picked Ohio State in that one. Too bad he wasn't here. He could have worn that awesome Ohio State helmet. Happens though. And Chandler, what are your picks?
Boise State versus Utah State. I picked Boise State. Stanford versus California. I picked Stanford. Minnesota versus Iowa. I picked Iowa. LSU versus Ole Miss. I picked LSU. Penn State versus Michigan State. I picked Penn State. Stanford versus... I've already said that. Ohio State, the main event versus Michigan. I picked Ohio State.
Okay, and my picks is Boise State versus Utah. Boise State wins. Minnesota versus Iowa. Iowa wins. Ole Miss versus LSU. LSU wins. Penn State versus Michigan State. Penn State will win. Stanford versus California. Stanford will barely win. And our main event, Ohio State versus Michigan. Ohio State by a long shot, man.
Yep. He's right.
Yep, I think so too. So how do you think we did on this week's picks, Chandler?
I think we did really good. You're tied with me now, but let's get to our next segment.
Okay. And I guess now we will have to introduce a brand new segment to you. It is called Ask the Experts. Our only question for today comes from a viewer named Glenn. The question reads, if Notre Dame fires Charlie Weiss, do you think they will be able to lure Urban Meyer back to his alma mater and away from Florida?
No, Glenn. No, he won't. Glenn, that's just... Urban Meyer has had great seasons at Florida. He's just a great coach. I think he will try to get all these freshmen and all these new players and two better players where they might go for the national championship. Next year.
My answer to that question would be possible. If Florida loses a national championship this season, he may go to Notre Dame. But if they win, that could keep him there because he would want to recruit more freshmen and continue to build the Florida program. But even if he wins, what else would he have to prove? I mean, he's losing Tim Tebow, most of his defense, some of his offense. So he would need to do a heck of a recruiting job to be able to have a good team next season. So that's my answer to you, Glenn.
To send us questions,
email us at...
to send us questions, go on our website, everythingcollegefootball.weebly.com, and
email us at everythingcollegefootball@gmail.com or at ECFexperts@yahoo.com.
What do you guys think about UCF beating Houston this past weekend?
Oh, we just got a new question from an actual phone call. Okay, well, I think UCF surprised us. I mean, Houston is a great team, but apparently they weren't good enough. I think they were probably too cocky.
I think that it was shocking. It was shocking to me. I was expecting Houston to win big. I just can't believe it.
Me neither. So, I think that about wraps us up. Do we have any more phone calls coming in? Okay, I guess not. So that wraps us up for this third episode of ECF Experts Live. Be sure to visit everythingcollegefootball.weebly.com. My name is Dalton.
And my name is Chandler.
Goodbye from the ECF studios. And, yeah.
Go to everythingcollegefootball.weebly.com.
Bye-bye.